so much packed in there and so much more to discuss. Thought-provoking. Well, before we round up the show today, let's take a reading. Enjoy this.
Hello, I'm Tunde Akimondiri, an author and a public speaker at the same time. I am an author of several books, as a matter of fact. And this afternoon, I'm going to be talking about my latest book, which is the History of Students Unionism. I wrote this book last year during the month of August, and it was launched in Ondo State of Nigeria. The book is more of an exposition into the concept of unionism, especially as it operates in most of the tertiary institutions in this country. And it was actually forwarded by Mr. Femi Falano, SCN, a renowned human rights lawyer. I'm going to be reading the first chapter, or I'll start my reading from the first chapter. The beginning of higher education in Africa has been traced through different historical periods. One school of thought traces it to the abolition of slavery and the settlement of the freed slaves in Sierra Leone in 1787. This is linked with the establishment of the Furabe College in 1827. Graduates of Furabe College were said to have intensified struggles that led to the establishment of many higher institutions. Akintoye in the year 1973 traces the history of university education in Nigeria to the 19th century, when Nigerians found their way to Furabe College. Late Bishop Samuel Ajayi Crowder was part of the first generation of blacks and of African descent to resume at the great Furabe College. Another school of thought argues that higher education in Nigeria started with the nationalist movements. What is certain is that university, as we know it today, has its ancestry in the Middle Ages in Europe with the revival of learning. The existence of university system also necessitated the introduction of students' unionism. It was Newman who made an attempt to conceptualize university in his 1854 classic, The Idea of a University. University, according to him, is one of the greatest and incessant occupations of human society, carried on partly with set purpose. He further asserts university as a place of communication and circulation of thoughts by means of personal intercourse through a wide extent of the country, a school of universal learning and knowledge of every kind. Now to students' unionism. Students' unionism goes as far back as 1925, when Ladipo Sholanke, a London scholar, established the West African Students' Union alongside Professor Bankole Bright. This was an addendum to the Progressive Union created a year before, still by Ladipo, in partnership with Ami Ashwegavi. Ladipo Sholanke had his education at the St. Andrews Training Institution and later Furabe College, Sierra Leone. He resumed at the University College Britain in 1923 and graduated in 1928. The ideal of WASU at this time was to fight colonialism, racism, colonial exploitation, political repression, including other social inequalities. With the aid of newspapers, magazines, and radio, WASU was able to propagate its cardinal objectives. WASU was equally able to incorporate its ideals into the university system, which enabled her to speak in the interest of the students, being a fragment of the academic setting. In Fafunwa's words, it was little more than a tutorial residential college, which caused its students for London external degrees in arts, science, agriculture, and medicine. The degree certificates issued by London University to successful candidates in Ibadan between 1952 and 1962 were not different in any way from those issued to private candidates. They both carried the phrase as an external student. There were 104 foundation schools, including 49 students in teacher training and survey courses, who began their courses at Ibadan on 18th January 1948. The formal opening took place on 25th March 1948, and in February 1948, University College London was allowed to enjoy a special relationship scheme. Owing to the time, I might not be able to proceed, and we will have to actually conclude and draw the content on this note. But I'm still Tunde Akimondere, the author of the History of Students Unionism, chronicling unionism in Nigerian universities, a case study of AAUA. I'd like to be here some other time to at least do justice to more of what I've been able to read within the shortest period of time. Thank you.
Interesting. Well, this is where we have to end the show today. As always, we'll be delighted to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. My name is Olakunle Kasumu. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.